in the private time yesterday with one of the snowflakes. He gave me his preparation manual, I guess, or syllabus that he put together to. Yeah, those are red eyes like the devil. You're not seeing this. And essentially did the homework like I told everybody to do. And you wonder why the snowflakes are doing better in QLA in the last 5+ years. One, they don't have any baggage or have very little baggage. And two, they do what the fuck I tell them. And some of the comments on YouTube, and it's generally all positive, and they want to know if I knew the oil guy that died of cancer yesterday, the day before, a few days ago. And I had forgotten, but his wife had shot him 6 times 22 years ago and left him in a pool of blood in the garage. Yeah, I did know him. And she only called 911 when he promised not to press charges against her. I would have done more than not press charges against him myself personally. But he's away. He's dead now. One of the old school guys from the energy business. He was also in the tire business. Now, I have don't call it a gift, because it's not. Please take one and pass it around. Only one you're supposed to take. Oh. You don't have to hide it under the table. What is it, Lawrence? Shoot on him. Camera on him. What did I just give everybody in the group?
It's medicated cream.
For what? So read it out.
Quickly cools, soothes, and relieves immediate itching, burning, and irritation.
For what? Where?
I don't know. I've never seen something like this.
It's vaginal cream. Because you're all cunts. So you might as well start acting like one. Was this enough? Let me borrow yours. It's called Vagisil. Everybody on YouTube ought to get a fucking tub of it. You ought to soak in it. Because you're all cunts. So don't fool yourselves. It's quite remarkable to me that some of you are alive at the age you are. I was thinking about it this morning when I was shaving. I didn't cut myself this morning like I did yesterday. These razors are supposed to, you're supposed to be able to cut yourself. But never underestimate how wrong you can be. And I shave in the shower because I don't want to waste time. I shave in the shower. When I used to get haircuts behind my desk at the office. When I get haircuts, they come to my house and I get a haircut. I used to get a haircut in the plane when I had a plane, flying someplace. So I don't waste time. But that's time management. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Back to where I come from, you guys wouldn't have made it past 15 years old. You would have been shot down in the street in some drive-by. And like in that movie about the orchestra guy, I cut you like a fucking pig. But now everybody grows up, not everybody, almost everybody grows up to be you. Remember that picture of the World War II GI coming home from the war, and now the guy that needs quiet time because somebody screamed at him in class? In 70 years, which is about 2.5 generations, and the generation is between 20 and 25 years, I'm 70, like the Bible says. I'm actually 70 now, almost 12. And I can't imagine that if we had started out with the snowflake generation, we'd be this far. I mean, it took balls to go in the little satellites when they were in the 60s. As my buddy, who was the third guy to walk on the moon, he said we were all psychos because we knew that there was a 50-50 chance that it was going to blow up. We were trying to do it before the Russians. But I mean, now, are there any snowbirds going? Who's going to go with Elon? They're probably going to have to interview 100 million people to find 3 non-snowflakes. It's like the Marine thing, a few good men. Well, fuck. You don't see that commercial anymore. It's gone. But I thought about it, and I was thinking about Josh, that we heard it talk yesterday, 19-year-old kid. Although he's getting long in the tooth, he's going to be 20 in August. He's long in the tooth. Now, just think where you were when you were 20. It's sad. It's pathetic, as the Irish would say. It's tragic. There's no good word to describe it. And we're getting worse. And again, the reason why I have the fewest social media following, I don't want your fucking following, please. Please don't! Is because I'm the only fuck that tells you, you're not going to make it, asshole. Don't bother trying. And 99.99% of the time, I'm right. I'm right. And again, 99.99% of the people that have used QLA to success, I've never met. Now, I have met all those guys on the Hall of Fame. And and if there's some billionaires that have used QLA that I don't know about, but I know about all the guys that have created billions. I think. If there's anybody that have created $1 billion or more that I don't know about, or 900 in change and more, let me know. But I believe they've all contacted me. And they're not all up there because they don't want the notoriety. But I believe. But I may be wrong. And remember, never underestimate how wrong you can be. And God knows I've been wrong plenty of times. Just as I was wrong, I thought it was going to be a relatively piece of fucking cake. It was so easy for me to create $500 million with $800. I thought, fuck, I'm just, as I told you, I thought they're going to carry me around like fucking Caesar on a goddamn, and just from stadium to stadium, and me just them throwing roses at me. God damn, I was fucking wrong about that. They threw shit at me, but it wasn't roses. I don't think I've ever had feces thrown at me. No, I don't think so. But I've had bottles and bricks and plates and other shit, silverware. Fortunately, nobody's such a good shot. But the kids today, and in the comments, and remember, we only let a fraction of the servicemen in. I mean, I get a lot of people we could fill this room 3 times over with all the current active duty military and the vets that have been out less than 3 years. But we just a small fraction, and we don't pick everybody. And just as we have a fraction of students, we have no more than 10 or 20% of seminar are students, because students and active duty military get a special deal, as they should. And like I was telling Sarge, the booster suits well, to say it's stalled again. I mean, I feel like Atlas Shrugged pushing the fucking Atlas up the goddamn slope, because a lot of people talk about wanting to help veterans, and they just announced they're going to redo the whole veteran computer systems to make it like the Department of Defense or whatever, which they should have done 20 years ago. And but when it comes down to, and I don't want anybody's money when it comes down to devoting time, other than a talking head on CNN, they're not that interested. We've asked 4-star flag officers all the way down. Now, the guys that are interested and willing to put forth some time are some shot up NCOs from Vietnam and the Afghan, you know. But the people want to see a 4-star general up there. Or they want to see a guy who's now a Navy SEAL turned senator. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see, you know, shot up old Sarge there, you know. And one of the guys that's helped me that I mentioned already is a shot up NCO from the Vietnam War Marine, you know, shot the shit 2.5 years in the hospital, 65 operations, you know. But they want to see somebody in a Ford. Does he make clothes? Ford make suits? Yeah, that's what they want to see. But guys, I give you that, and you should, you know, you'll throw it away when you leave here, but you should put it on your fucking desk. Some of you should sleep with it, because your decision-making process is all fucked up. It's better today than it was when you got here, but it's still, you know, we've got a long way to go. And the YouTube kids that haven't had the privilege of the, you can call it motivation or you can call it the beatdown, whatever you want to call it, of the last week. And again, that motivation shit doesn't work. It's proven that you go, and some of the gurus are really good motivators. There's some world-class guys out there, but it lasts 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then you got to go back for another jolt. And of course, that's what they want. They want you to come back because that's their upsell. But and that's why the mentor program is for a year, and it's free. And it's free because I see that you're not making the right kind of effort, as defined by Dan Peña, not as defined by you. If you're not putting forth the right effort. And how do I define the right effort? The minimum effort that I know that it will take to succeed using the Quantum Leap Advantage methodology model. The minimum. And I've got enough data now from 24 years. I know what just about the least amount of heartache, sacrifice, and fucking beating and mental consternation that it takes to succeed. I'm not worried about the ones that are going to put out max effort. I'm worried about the ones that have gone through their lives putting out minimal effort. In most people, myself included, until I got commissioned 50 years ago, I was just just did enough to get by, and that's the norm. That's the norm, just enough to get by. And I gave the example for those of us that went to school. When do you start studying for a final exam? Just before the final exam. When do you start your term papers? They may not even do term papers anymore. They may not even do final exam. I don't know. But if they did, when you start writing the paper, you write it, you figure out, well, maybe 2 weeks before the semester ends, or 10 days, and that's how you've done your life. It's very few people, when you're on the clock and you're getting paid by the hour, that show up an hour early. Very few. Maybe none now. When I used to be along to a union, one of my first legitimate jobs, and in America you have to be 16, you have to have a Social Security card to get a job. And I worked as a box boy, and I've said this before on YouTube. Box boy is a guy that puts groceries in ladies' bags, or boxes, or whatever they have. And when I wasn't boxing there, then you put shit on shelves in the markets. And I worked for Bonds. And I got paid $1.05 an hour. $1.05 an hour, a union job, box boy. And I turned 16 on August 10th, so that means I could only work about 20 days in the month of August. My first paycheck, and we're doing something for a documentary, the first time I ever got paid by a legitimate job, not me just working for cash and cutting lawns and stuff. My first paycheck was $241. So that means, roughly speaking, 240 hours. I worked in 20 days. And if you needed a job or you needed to go someplace, I'd take your hours. Anyway, so I worked 240 hours in 20 days. That was and I would work more. I would have worked more. And sometimes I had a midnight shift. I just slept in my car in the parking lot. It wasn't my car, it was my dad's car. Actually, it was my mother's car. And I drove a pink, get this, a pink Pontiac. Now, kids wouldn't get in a fucking pink Pontiac because it looked, well, it looked snowflake, but we didn't call it that. It looked airy-fairy. You wouldn't. Some kids would rather, if they didn't have their parents didn't have the right kind of car, they would rather take the bus or walk to work than be in a fairy-looking car. I figured I can get to work earlier, make more money in that pink Pontiac. But when I think back upon it, God damn, I mean, it was really snowflakey looking, snowflakey. But now you have a prop. We've used a lot of props here. And we were going to have a video to show. There are videos on YouTube to show how you use this shit. I think it's fucking disgusting that they talk about feminine hygiene products on television. It's disgusting, as Sally would say. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Right now, it's animated how a woman uses a tampon. It's animated. It's going to be real people someday. What's happened, Sarge? What's happened? But now, forevermore, and I want you to keep it to the first Zoom call. I want everybody to hold it up in the first Zoom call. If you don't hold it up in the first Zoom call, you know what? Okay? After the first Zoom call, but the first Zoom call, I can just see. Have you ever been arrested, Bill? No. Okay. Yeah, think about it. Once? For what? Okay. He was arrested once. But when they take your mugshot, like poor Tiger Woods mugshot, well, in the Zoom call, I want you to hold the vaginal cream up there. And one time, I can just imagine, was the book late for the library that you returned to buy?
It's related to that place in the United States.
Oh.
Off camera, I'll tell you.
Okay. Are you writing on the box, Walter?
Yeah.
Okay. And but that's the prop that you're going to get some other stuff that you're going to take away tonight at graduation. You saw Klaus last night, and to think that I trained him. Say you are. But we'll talk about that off camera. That as well off camera. Any questions about anything? Anything you want to tell the YouTubers? You're only going to have a couple more opportunities to tell them to fuck off. But we'll see you after lunch, YouTube. Thank you.